What's up, TGN and Yes Gamers? Robert the Bruce here. Today we're looking at the Operation Locker Trap. What can you do? How can you avoid this? How can you punch through it? It's the classic scenario like you see here. The enemy holds 3 points, your team only holds 2. They lock down all the paths. You're trapped, can't get through the enemy lines. You're just stuck and you lose the game. Well, I think it starts from the moment the round begins. There's crucial decisions made from the get-go. So many people kind of lag their way up and eventually get to the middle point, and then they stop and they think, well, we need to capture this middle point, and that's where all the action is. This is what is going to determine if we can be the ones doing the spawn trap. I argue something different. I like to do what I do here, typically taking the lower path through the middle. Occasionally the outside path won't be too heavily congested. It is a dice roll. Sometimes you make it and sometimes you don't. But if you can punch through like I do, get all the way back in there and try to stay hidden back in enemy territory. I fail at this during this scene. I got greedy and went after some kills when I shouldn't have and died before my teammates could spawn on me. So I actually wasted that whole entry opportunity. But if you can make it back there, it's a big help to your team. Now luckily, when I spawn back in, I see we're holding the 3 points, the enemy holding the 2. We can set up that big wall of defenses and start the trap. And that's great. There's 3 main areas you got to lock down to make this successful. The lower path through the middle, the main upstairs path through the middle, and the outside snow path. Now, one thing I noticed, my team was not really paying much attention to the outside snow path. You zoom in here and look on the radar. We don't have many guys even really out there messing with it. All of us are congested in the middle. So that's where I decided I was going to be the most needed. If the enemy's going to punch through our trap, which already showed that they were, this is where they were going to do it. So I went out here, started trying to pick guys off, hold this defense line, but not many teammates joined me, and I knew it was only a matter of time before guys made it through. And I even saw a couple run through up to this point, so I knew they were going to be back there capping points behind us. So as soon as I saw an opportunity, I made a break deep into the enemy lines. And you may say, well, you didn't need to do this. You could have gone back and tried to hold the 3 points you already had. That's where my whole team was. And if we failed at doing that, we were completely stuck. So me and my squad mate, who were the only 2 on the comms actually working together, broke through enemy lines, used our spawn beacons, had our Pokeball motion sensors thrown all around to see where the enemy was. And we snuck through back here, had our spawn beacons down, and we're just messing up the enemy as best we could, making them run back to their spawn, come back to deal with us. And teammates started kind of catching on. A few would spawn back there with us and kind of try and help. And it's just a game of cat and mouse, hit and run. You spawn in, you kill as many guys as you can, you stay on the move, you try to stay alive. If they kill you, you go back to your beacon. If they kill your beacon, you spawn on your buddy's beacon and then move yours to a new position. It's all this guessing chess game of moving pieces back and forth, trying to outthink your enemy, stay one step ahead. Very, very effective. A great way to keep a lot of the enemy players back there and allowing your main force of your team to be up at the front lines and the rest of the map doing good work and kind of give them a little bit of an advantage because so many of the enemies have to come back here to deal with you. Really, really is a powerful move. And if you're just one of those guys that's like, oh, I'm going to set up with my RPG or my light machine gun or whatever, and I'm just going to sit in the main zone at the main middle of the point of Operation Locker. The 64 players, it's the C point. Some guys need to do that, so I'm not discounting that as not being effective. But if everybody's doing that and your team is losing, then, it's not going to work. Now, eventually we got wiped out. We got pushed back here like you see. The enemy had 3 points. Now we were the ones in the spawn trap, having to push through the enemy lines. And this is where most guys, again, make the mistake of just going for kills. They're sitting here, they're racking up kills as best they can, lobbing grenades and stuff. And they think, like, well, I'm getting kills, I'm doing my work. It's up to my teammates to push through if they're going to. Somebody else will do it, right? There's 32 players on our team, on, next-gen consoles and PC at least. Well, I don't like to think that way. I want to be the spearhead of this offensive campaign. As soon as we saw a break in the action here, I didn't just move up and try to get better cover. I wanted to take off into the enemy territory. I know it's a risk, but it really pays off if you can break through. And you'd be surprised, teammates follow you. Once they see me heading out, I ended up having 4 or 5 guys chasing me. So we'd run into these little skirmishes. It wasn't a big deal. We were able to take care of them because we had a few numbers with us. But even if I was alone, take off, try to stay hidden. If you're running a suppressor, that's great. Don't forget your spawn beacon. It makes all the difference in the world because by me being able to get back here with a few teammates and start messing them up back at their points near their spawn, they have to send a big wave of their teammates back here to deal with us, which allows the majority of our forces to push through back in the center of the level. It really took what could have been a very tough game for us and allowed us to win by a pretty solid margin. Now, the final disclaimer I'm going to throw in on this video: if you're playing a really good team that knows how to set up the trap well, you're probably not going to break through. And as much as that is not fun, that's just the way it is, especially if your teammates aren't really doing much to help you fight through the lines. If you're running solo and they've got good position, good weapon loadouts, good communication, it's just one of those things. It's a good team. You can't make it. Again, that's kind of the same for any map, though, but Operation Locker is very prone to that trap. So if the opportunity presents itself, though, the whole point of this video is take it. Don't sit back. Don't wait for someone else to do it. Jump when you see a break in the enemy lines. Head back deep into their spawn. Just by being back there and killing a few guys, you'll mess up their whole rhythm and give your team a really good chance to push forward and reclaim most of the map. If you've got any other strategies you'd like to use, throw them in the comments. I always love to add new stuff to my arsenal to use on this map. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.